Yes, indeed. The Paina is in progress. Sandwich Island Social Network on the Porch, the longest running interactive virtual gatherings of Hawaiians and Hawaiians of Heart in Southern California, including Stanley Gomes, which is amazing. We haven't lost him along the way. He has continued to join us, and we love it, love it. And joining us from on the slopes of the Kohala Mountains, none other than Pualalea Hanamai Kai. Welcome, Pualalea. What's up, girl?
It's a beautiful day in Kohala. Well, it's every day is a beautiful day in Kohala.
What did you have to test before going to Maui? Get a COVID test?
June 15th, the state opened up no testing for inter-island flights and no quarantining if you carry your vaccination card.
Okay.
So that's good for now, but for mainland flights into Hawaii County, you still have to test, and no quarantining if you have your vaccination card. And that's going to open up though in July.
And a negative COVID test.
Yeah, it's going to change in July. They keep continually easing up the restrictions step by step. It'll get there. We will. It was actually a nice day trip into Maui. I got to see my Hanamai Kai ohana visiting from Utah. Got to visit some of my my ohana lands. I don't like to hang out there because there are some dealings that nobody else except for two people in our family agreed upon. So the 12 plus acres we used to have in Haiku Mauka is down to less than a quarter of an acre. Yay. So that was, but other than that, I love Maui. I love my home island. But yeah, still in school. Still and stuff. We're talking about the Great Mahele today. That was the big discussion today. So other than that, everything is easy peasy.
Congratulations on your 100%.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. She posted that today. Yay!
Thank you. My professor, Dr. Kamana Beamer, is one of the most wonderful kumus and professors to have. He really is. He's amazing. But he really stingy with those 100%. And I'm that horrible student that still can't comprehend that a 99% A is the same as a 100% A. I'll get there one day, but yeah, some of the professors see me coming and they're like, "Oh God, not you again."
That's what we say too.
No, you don't. You're happy to see me, Stanley.
We have to say the same thing. Oh no, here she comes. Say the same thing. No worries.
Happy to see me. Hush up.
Leah, you know what they call the doctor who graduated last in his class?
No.
Doctor.
There you go. Right? He's still a doctor. But I'm sorry. You know what? I grew up with a very, very strict mother when it came to education. And high school, I brought home a report card. I had 5 A's and 2 B's. Do you know how long I heard about those 2 B's? Probably till I was in my 40s.
Yeah. Oh, there's Kahiao. Hi, there she is. Aloha. Well, welcome, Pualalea. Thanks for joining us. I'm part of our Sandwich Island Social Network crew here, along with Kahiao. Welcome, Kahiao. Good evening, my dear.
Hi, I apologize for being late. I think I blew a fuse with all my fans I have going on in my house.
Well, how many people do you have there doing this to you, saying, yay, you're doing
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. My entourage. No, I got fans, logistically set around the house so I could create a wind tunnel in my house. That's why I'm winning, because I'm 1,000 degrees right now.
Did you say create a wind tunnel at your house?
Yeah, a wind tunnel because I have the LA River in my backyard. So it tends to get cool. So if I open up the back window, open up the front door, and I have all these window fans going, I can create a wind tunnel that goes right through my house.
I see.
But it has to be just right.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
I blew a fuse. My power strip kind of said to me, don't plug one more thing in here. So hi everybody, what's going on?
Kahiao, no hula tonight?
There was hula, I was not present.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You're busy building your wind tunnel.
Busy. No, I worked a little bit later today. I had to beat some deadlines. We got the third quarter, fourth quarter coming up. So yeah. I missed till out tonight, but then I tried to get on here real quick and see everybody. But other than that, the weekend was pretty quiet. I intentionally stayed home. I did work out yesterday, which I'm paying for today. Every hair on my head is sore. It was good.
We love it when you post those videos of the boxing one, man. That's the
my Auntie Balboa.
Yeah.
I watched Rocky 1, 2, and 3 this weekend.
Put you in the mood, huh?
Yeah, 4 is my favorite though. 4 is my ultimate favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm waiting for them to come out with Rocky 21.
Well, if they keep up with the Creed and his son, they're gonna be doing them forever.
Okay, long as Sylvester Stallone doesn't get into the ring with a walker and
I'm just thinking about it.
Beat him with the cane.
Beat him with the cane. Right, Tuila. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, so beautiful to see your smiling faces. All of you are the faces and the hearts that have made our On the Porch so enjoyable. Thank you so much for supporting it and being part of it. We look forward to it. I look forward to every Monday to seeing your smiling faces, and it was good fun. Had a chance to go out to Long Beach on Saturday. We were at the Malibu Club in Long Beach, and Kimo West and Lono. And if some of you know Lono, he's a DJ over there, and he and Lil, his other half, they were spinning records, and Kimo West was playing some Kiho Alu, Slack Key, Auntie Jerry sang, and it was in this big open air tent that they took up the parking lot on the side of the building, so it was open air. The place was packed. It was really nice, and it was good to see folks that we hadn't seen for a while. Some of the crew from Halikipa, Mike Perez, his wife Stella,
Just put it on the back of the chair.
Angela, quite a few others. What's her name? Her husband is Peter. Athena. She dances sometimes as well. Jane Neely was there. It was just really nice to see everybody there. So it was a nice road trip. Traffic was horrendous going down. Took us almost 3 hours to get down there, but we made it, and it was worthwhile, and the food was good. Had a nice time. So yeah, really good. I see Wiedemeyer is jumping in. Okay, everybody tell Wiedemeyer he's late. Okay.
Where's your note? Where's your note?
Wait, he can't hear yet. Hang on. There he is. Okay, everybody go. Hey.
You're late.
Hey,
Uncle
bro,
Kevin,
are you late?
what's up? Why are you so late?
Where's your note?
Done fine.
Oh, man.
What excuse do you have this time?
I was in the principal's office. He never let me out till now.
I had your back, bro. I had your back. No, Lori. I had your back.
Running on that Pocho time. What's wrong with you?
No, Stanley Gomes was keeping track of the time. He was writing that down. He's keeping the all the notes on this over here, Kevin. So I'm sorry, brother. It's kind of harsh.
I get one party on mark on my attendance.
Yeah.
We're gonna put you in detention.
It'll be the first time, baby.
I had no doubt, babe.
So I had an idea. It's not an original one. It's not an original one, and perhaps you've seen this before, but I thought it might be interesting tonight. Let me see if I can share the screen over here on this. Can you see that? And it says, if you could sit on this bench for an hour with anyone from the past or present, who would it be? And I'm going to qualify this because I've done this with other friends before, and all of us agreed if I could spend an hour with my dad or my mom and to sit there. So I'm going to do a qualifier. If you could sit on a bench and chat for an hour with anyone from the past or present, not related to you, who would that be? I want you to think. Someone not related to you. And then somebody said, oh, bro, I got to sit for 1 hour. No more even one cushion on that bench. You know, and I said,
that's what I was thinking.
Hey, my colleague gonna be really sore if I got to sit on that wooden bench. I don't care who it is. I said, stop it. That's not the point.
With a pillow so I can take a nap.
Okay, so if you would sit on his bench that had pillows on top for an hour, anyone from the past or present, not related to you, who would that be?
Is someone serving lunch?
Ooh.
Is it going to be lunch served or
Ooh.
go for lunch?
And the lunch has been catered by Stanley Gomes, by the way. He's going to he'll bring lunch. So I'm gonna start with Kohala right now. Pualalia, who would somebody from the past or present, not related to you, and you would spend an hour just sitting and talking? Who would that be?
So, you know, I've seen this a lot, and I've had different answers a lot over the period of my life. But as I continue down this path of actually really dissecting the history of the Hawaiian nation, the one person that constantly sticks out as pretty much the catalyst for a lot of game changing here in Hawaii, it would be Ka'ahumanu. Powerful woman, smart woman, very
choice.
She's good with, she was very, very smart with a lot of things, and people revere her a lot. But a lot of what she did was laying down the foundation for our nation being overthrown.
Yeah.
She did a lot that really went against taking care of the Kanaka. And there was a lot of things she did that were horrible, but there were so many things that she did that was great. And I always want to ask her, why would you choose this? Why would you choose that? Why? But yeah, she was one of the smartest women, ali'i of that time. Not too many people know this, but she was a very prolific war strategist and a negotiator. And yeah, you know, to be honest, between her and Ke'opulani, who was Kamehameha's like main wife, under Kauikeaoli, Kamehameha II's reign, they really were the ones that were, they were pulling all the strings. Between those two, he had his mom and his second mom, so to speak, literally laying down all the foundation. So everything that happened during Kamehameha II's reign happened because of Ka'ahumanu. She was an amazing woman. But yeah, there's some things where it's like, yo, sis, why you wouldn't do that, man? You need craps. You need crap.
Interesting.
My answer, I'm sticking to it.
I love it. DC, you said that was a good choice, huh?
Oh yeah, you know, my ancestor, who was they call him Heva Heva Nui, he was actually the Kahuna Nui to King Kamehameha I, Ka'ahumanu, when she was a regent. And of course, a lot of people know that he assisted Ka'ahumanu in almost tearing down the idols and and bringing Christianity into the islands. And you know, and he had a lot of wives, as my family, well, we know. And there's a lot of things that went on in history that he did a lot. In fact, his remains is buried right there in Waimea Valley, in where you grew up. So he would probably be the one that I would be sitting next to and finding out, how come and why this and why that. Yeah, good choice, Pua. Good choice.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right. Good one. Kahiao. You could sit for an hour. Someone not related to you, past or present. Who would that be?
That's tough. I've seen the question, but no one's ever asked me before. My first reaction was going to try to jump to like a historical figure, like maybe like JFK or MLK, but I figured that's probably a lot of people's answer. I think I want to talk to the Pope, John Paul II. I think during his time as Pope, I think a lot of things happened in the Catholic Church, and I'd want to ask him, how difficult that was to kind of navigate those things, those challenges, and what it's like being in modern day times, as a Catholic. And I know towards the end of his time, reaching out to the youth, I think I'd want to talk to him. I find him very interesting. All the languages that he speaks and all the countries that he's visited, and being a Catholic, of course, I'd be probably, speechless, probably talking to him, but just kind of like, what his vision was for the Catholic Church to grow, has to grow. It has to change with the times, and what his thoughts were. And it's got to be a very difficult and lonely place to be, being the Pope of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody saw the movie Two Popes? Two Popes. It's on, I believe it's either Netflix or Amazon Prime. Very, very, very interesting. Very well done. Two Popes. I just saw it for the second time. In fact, Kay had not seen it, and I had already saw it. I said, you know what? I want to go back and see this movie again. And I know you hadn't seen it. And we went and watched it again. I enjoyed it. Anthony Hopkins is in it. And it goes into the behind the scenes of selecting a pope, what happens, how it happens, what was going on at the time. And Kayao, I would recommend that movie, Two Popes. And when you see it, I would like to get your reaction to it. But I enjoyed it. And it's very seldom I want to go back and see a movie a second time. People go back and watch Titanic like 5 times, and I say, bro, they're not going to miss the iceberg every time.
Same ending every time.
It's like, and she's on the thing that's floating, and he's down, and she's crying for him, and he never pops his head back up again. So I see it one time enough already, but Two Popes was quite good.
So that would have been my pick. I think that as popes go, he really reached out to the youth, and really acknowledged that the youth of the the future of the church. So John Paul Pope II, that'd be my pick.
Wow,
He was the longest sitting pope, yeah?
I believe so.
Yeah, previous to him, they didn't have the longevity that he had. Oh, I want to make a correction. When I said Kaui Keaoli, I messed up. That was Liho Liho.
Kaui
Keaoli is the third. Sorry. I'm doing a paper on him right now, and he's not, anyways.
Kaui Keaoli was Kamehameha the Third.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had I missed that initially, but I learned about that because I paddled for Kaui Keaoli Canoe Club in Kona, so I had to learn all about Kaui Keaoli when I was paddling. Yeah.
It's funny. You wanted 100%. Now look what you did. God, funny.
You know what? I just corrected myself, fool. What's up?
Too late. Hey, I already wrote them down the list. Too late. You didn't pass. You get a 97. Sorry. Next.
She went gangster academia on you.
Next. 97. Next. You know 100%. Next.
You want to go head to head? We go head to head. Dude, Jeopardy. Me and you, bro. Me and you.
I think we went from Kaiao and the Two Popes to Wedemeyer, the Two Pups.
You gotta jump on my lap. You don't wanna move.
you, got-
Yeah.
you want to see what's going on over there. It's beautiful,
Checking
dog.
you guys out.
Beautiful.
Oh,
So, Auntie Hetty, Uncle Larry, so if you had a chance to sit with someone, Auntie Hetty, who would that be? Auntie Hetty, who would you like to sit with? Not related to you, but you would have a chance to sit down and kuka with somebody. Who would that be?
There's so many. I would, probably a bunch of writers like A. Milne and C.S. Lewis to get their perspective on life in general, why they wrote about the characters they wrote, especially A. Milne, because Winnie the Pooh is like my favorite.
Christopher Robin.
Why and how, and that's what I would do. I'd sit down with a bunch of writers that I like and pick their brains.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, I've sat with Eeyore, and every Wednesday I sit with Eeyore from Wailuku, Maui. No.
Ah, Stanley.
Yourself.
You know, I'm Tigger. Like, okay, let's get this show going. Let's go. I'm Tigger. You know, boing, boing, boing.
Okay.
That would
Pop
be
pop for now.
my interest is to sit with the authors of yesteryear and pick their brain.
You know, I would think that would come from you as a librarian steeped in books and a voracious reader. Absolutely, Auntie Eddie. Yes.
How about you, Hen?
Well, ever since I was a kid, the guy I admired the most when I was 4 or 5 years old, beginning to remember things and beyond that, General Douglas MacArthur.
Oh,
Tell you, he's seen the future. Like, for instance, to me, when I go back in history, all the problems we got today, China, Red China, should have stepped into North Korea. They had no business coming into North Korea after MacArthur was coming from South Korea, coming up to unite all of Korea, which we should have done. But after World War II, of course, Roosevelt died. That's what screwed things up to a certain extent. But Truman wasn't up to par there. But Korea was part of the Japanese Empire, along with Taiwan, which was Formosa. When we defeated Japan, we should have had Korea as one country. And that's a big mistake we made, and MacArthur sensed that. And when we pushed the Chinese north toward the Yalu and almost going to take all of North Korea and hopefully unite Korea, I was 12 years old, but I remember that. And now we're paying the penalty now. We got this North Korea, which is a crazy regime. But China had no business entering the Korean War. No business. Anyway, MacArthur he's seen the future. He's an American hero as far as I'm concerned. He had some negatives. Nobody's perfect. But that was my, in fact, Hetty had a personal thing with him, telling a story about MacArthur in the Alexander Young Hotel in Hawaii.
I had gone to the doctor because I had an ear infection, and I had I remember a green and red plaid jumper and a white blouse and the matching bow in my hair. And we had come down, my mom and I had come down the elevator, and we were walking out the entrance, and he was walking in with all of the military people. But the bow fell out of my hair. So he picked it up and he looked at me and he says, "Does this belong to you?" And I said, "Yes." And I didn't know who he was. Yes. And so he put it back on my hair. That was my claim to fame.
Anyway, told me that, it hit me too, But anyway, my dad, all my uncles, they really admired MacArthur, and the whole family did. But that's who I do, and sit down and say, look, all the things you mentioned has come true. But Truman was kind of new on the job, and Roosevelt died 3 months before the war ended or whatever. But this problem we got Korea now really upsets me, where it shouldn't have been. We won the war, and Korea was part of the empire of Japan, and it should have been one country still yet.
Wow.
Well, we would have listened to Patton. There probably wouldn't have been a Russia either.
Patton's another hero, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Wow. Wow. Very good. Well, thank you very much for that. That's I didn't realize that Auntie Hetty actually had met Douglas MacArthur. Yeah. That's
You still have that flower.
No,
what do you think, Paula Leah?
What do I think? I think
She's thinking about the 97%. That's what she's thinking about.
you know what I'm
She's
thinking about
digging at
throwing
her.
my shoe at you, Stanley Gomes.
Throw the slipper.
This is not a size 3.
No, you know what? My slippers, they don't have the impact. My shoes now, I got the high heels, yeah.
Bigger than a size 3 though, right?
Great. I'm a little bit interested in finding out what Mr. Marty Burns has to say about this question.
Wow. Probably gonna surprise you guys, but I'm gonna go to a football angle. I would say Jesse Sapolu, but everything he could possibly tell stories about, I've already talked to him about, and no. But one guy in particular that was known as the dirtiest offensive lineman in football was Conrad Dobler.
Oh.
And I would like to hear stories from him about before football turned into flag football, what it was like to play against some of those defenses and you know, some of the rules that obviously we don't have now. You know, the way they played the game in those trenches, it would be nice to hear those stories.
That was really bone crunching surprise that we didn't hear about more serious injuries. And you know, we hear them now with all the padding and everything, right? Concussions and stuff. But you go back in the day when they're still playing, there were some major things that were going on that affected the athletes though. Good one though.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear those old stories of when it was different, when it was a full-on fight, you know, on the line, and you know, they had more ability to you know, to get it done there instead of, you know, all the rules
That
now.
was a delicate way of saying that.
Hey, you got to be careful.
Well, my dad played football. He was on the farm team of the Bears. He and his group of cronies from the street gang, and they had leather helmets.
Oh
They
yeah.
just had caps that they wore. No padding per se, but just these caps.
Yeah.
You know, and this is several years ago. I was still living back home. Used to go run Kapiolani Park. We'd park the car at Kapiolani Park, and then we'd run the loop. We'd go up Montserrat. Ken, you know this, man. We'd run up Montserrat, around up by Triangle Park, by Diamond Head, come back around, and then run down Diamond Head Road back to the car. So that was that loop we would practice, right? Going up Montserrat. Sometimes we do it twice. But on a Sunday afternoon, whatever, we come back to the car and drinking water and stuff, and over it on the field, see these big guys, man, they're just crunching one another, you know, boom, and you can hear the hits. You know when the bone hit, you know, boom, like this, and from across, I'm going, whoa, like that. And it was my first exposure to rugby.
Oh.
Rugby.
I took a look at like this, and I went, and so a friend that was with me, he goes, brah, that's full-on contact football, brah. They don't do padding. They don't, and most of them were Samoans. They're the big guys, man. They were like playing. And I sat there and watched. And Marty, I think very much like the original American football, rugby still maintains the that major hit and
Oh yeah, big time.
Purity.
Maka, the favorite, the biggest fans of rugby was the dentist. You know why? It's very good for business.
Boy.
So it's hockey.
You know, Kamaka,
Hockey too.
I don't know if how many people know that at PCC is the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame museum. And if you guys ever get the opportunity to go to the museum at PCC and look at, it's an interactive museum where, you know, each player has their own little section, and you can, there's video and tells about their era and what they contributed. But the amount of, well, it's all, you know, Polynesian players, and very interesting, very well done. And it's worth the trip to the Polynesian Culture Center to see this museum. They've done a beautiful job at putting this thing together and highlighting the Polynesian football players. Absolutely a sight to see there.
Nice. Yeah, Marty. We had that conversation on our Aloha Friday show about a month and a half ago with Jesse Sapolu, and his part in working with putting that Polynesian Hall of Fame together. And went all the way talking about one of the first Polynesian football players is Al Nonga, right? Way back, and some incredible stories about the Polynesians and their contribution to American football, and even down to today, they dominate in the sport. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I get two uncles that stay in the Polynesian Hall of Fame. I get two. My two uncles stay there.
Yeah, so you would go there and pay a little respect to Kevin's uncles. See their little placement in the Hall of Fame there.
Yeah. One uncle was in the inaugural group for the Polynesian Hall of Fame, the first group, and then my other uncle is in this year's inductee.
They get a pretty good looking ring too. If you've seen the ring that they give them, a pretty awesome looking Hall of Fame ring they get each inductee.
Nice.
Wow.
Very well done.
I remember when I was a kid, Honolulu Stadium in the good old days, Alvin Ta'a Harrington.
Oh yeah.
Punaho, Tahitian. So what the story exactly is, but he got adopted. That's why he got the word Harrington. But he lived by Halaba Housing, and he went to Punaho on a scholarship. But wow, what a football player he was. He ended up at Stanford later on. He became a teacher at Punaho, and of course you guys know him from Hawaii Five-0, you younger people. But Harrington, then I met him about 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Longer.
maybe 9-10 years ago. We had a fundraiser for Senator Akaka up here, and Harrington was coordinating it. And I talked to him, and I remembered all the scores in the football games. He said, "You remember that?" Then I told him my brother-in-law was Walton Leong, and also Stuart Medeiros was for Kamiki, the halfback. He said, "Oh, Stuart Medeiros, Walton, I know all them." But I met him again after all these years. But Harrington was Mr. Outside, and not the Holly guy was Mr. Inside, copying the old Army team, inside and outside, Doc Blanchard them. But back in 52, 53, 54, the mid-50s in Hawaii, that's when Hawaii football hit its tops in the high schools, Then they broke it all up and made different conferences and all that. But that old thing that we went back to, the football in Hawaii when I was a kid was big time, high school football.
Yeah.
But anyway, Al Harrington, Ta'a, T-A, whatever you call it, Ta'a.
We will be having Al Harrington on the Aloha Friday show coming up.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah. I sat down with Al Harrington at Catherine Bachknight's home, sat around outside of the pool for an afternoon, shared a meal and talked story. And
Good.
interesting background. And he agreed to join us on an Aloha Friday show. So
Thank you. Thank you. I
so
remember for years he had that show, Kamaka, the one, Mr. What is it? Mr. South Seas or whatever.
Mr. Polynesia, the
Yeah,
Polynesian man.
and he mentioned a triangle, Tahiti and Hawaii and Samoa and all the islands forming a triangle. But Harrington was very in my time. I was a little younger, but he was one of my heroes.
Good. So and quite interesting to talk to. And he is 80.
He's in his mid 80s.
Yeah, and he looks great. And he's in great shape. So we look forward to that. That's coming up on the Aloha Friday show in a couple of weeks. Yeah, very good. All right. Well, thank you, Marty. That was a nice trip down football. That's great.
Memory lane.
Football memory lane.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen Annie in a while, Uncle. Annie,
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi
welcome.
guys.
how you been?
Oh, I'm much better now.
Aw.
I had an issue with my eyes. They were so dry that it was too painful to be on Zoom or on my computer or binge watching on my iPad. I couldn't do any of that. And I was going to bed at 8 o'clock every night just to rest my eyes longer.
Mhm.
But doctor put me on a bunch of different drops and it's improving. And
Oh,
I've
good.
missed you guys. And I thought, I don't care how sleepy I get, I'm going to stay up and be with you guys.
Well, it's good to see you, Annie. And the question of the hour, right, is?
Yeah, wow. I was hoping you guys wouldn't pick me right away because it took a while for me to come up with something. At first I came up with Agatha Christie and Gertrude Chandler Warner. She wrote the Boxcar Children series, the first 17 books. But then I ended up choosing Miss Higa. She was my fifth grade teacher. Gosh, maybe it was my sixth grade teacher. No, it was my fifth grade teacher. Anyway, she was at the Denker Avenue Elementary School. And then my other teacher, Mrs. Snuggs, was in my third grade teacher in Virginia. And they're the only two teachers that I have, number one, never forgotten their names. I've forgotten everybody else's names. But they really worked with me. I really needed a lot of help. And because sometimes I went to 2 or 3 different schools a year. We moved around so much. And so I was always feeling left behind because it's hard to catch up or anything. But I happened to be, at the time, I was stable in the 3rd grade. That was the only year I went to that particular school. So I had a teacher for a full year. And that probably helped a lot. But it was just their personalities. They're very caring, and they left a mark. And I learned so much. It was easy to learn through them. With everybody else, it was just difficult. And even if I had other teachers for a full year, they didn't leave a mark, but these two did.
Oh,
Great.
so sweet.
Yeah.
And it brings me to tears.
Well, that will help. The tears will help moisturize your eyes.
Yes.
That's really sweet. Well, I'm sure if they were here and they could talk to you, they'd feel really good about how you remember them so fondly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
That was really nice there.
that was sweet.
Anna, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, Annie.
Well, thank you for giving me time to think of them. Otherwise, it would have been most likely Agatha Christie.
Well, she's cool too. I like Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sympathize with you, Annie. I went first.
Well, wonderful. So, DC and Tuila, I think DC, we have a little insight into some of your ohana as well, but we said not related to you. How about the two of you? Someone not related, someone that you'd like to sit down and talk story with their Tuila.
Oh, I have always admired Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. We share a birthday.
No.
And I've always wanted to sit down and talk to her about her life growing up in France. And when she was a debutante and ran into John Kennedy, and her thoughts about her early life with him, what she was expecting out of it, and did her life fulfill what she had hoped for. But I've always admired her because she was such a lady.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to wear my hair like her. She'd change her hairstyle. I see the magazines and I do it. Her and Sophia Loren.
Oh.
Yeah. DC.
Well, yeah, I kind of want to dovetail off of what Annie was saying. When I first came to California, talk about Kuaina, was real country. Even I had to go to one speech therapist because my English was really kekineki. I mean, it was really, really bad. And after a while, it becomes a novelty. Everybody thinks it's cute. The boy from Hawaii. And back then it was surfing and all of that. But one of my teachers, in fact, she was an exchange teacher from Boston, and she had that accent, that Boston accent. And her name was Catherine Fair. I always remember her. And it takes that special teacher to reach the student. And for me, coming with that attitude, first from Molokai to Kalihi and Kalihi to Halava, that was, Halava is where we had unlimited forward passes. We made our own football rules. And I'll tell you, just trying to make it through high school. Unfortunately, I did go to college, but I had to go in the military first. But it's having that mentor, somebody to take you aside and say, there's more to life than just football, or more to life than surfing. Once you get to that corporate table, people tend to, especially the well spoken English types. If you have an accent, automatically that corporate ear closes. No matter how significant that or the knowledge that you have or the ideas that you have, they won't listen to you because
your sentences are structured.
Yeah, so it's having teachers and mentors that will spend the time, to pull you aside and say, okay, bro, let's start from ABC, or but it's having to have that person that will
take the time.
Well, invest, if you will, invest in you, and having a good teacher and a good mentor, that helped me to get where I'm at today. And then, of course, my wife doesn't need Google, because she knows everything.
I'm like a breathing dictionary. Today, he must have asked me 25 words how to spell them. Different words for different reasons. So I'm sitting going blah 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 blah. Wait, blah 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 blah. Huh?
So
it was funny.
Yeah, but it was big words, not the kind of small kind. It was big words.
So was there one person, DC, was there one person that took time with you that stayed in your mind that you really appreciated, that you'd like to sit and talk with?
Yeah, that was the one I was telling you about.
Oh, I missed.
Yeah, she had more to add, but
okay,
it wasn't enough time because, as I say, she was like an exchange teacher. She was only there for a year. I do have other teachers that were my music mentors, my sports mentors. You know, those guys hung around for 2 or 3 years. You know, but the one that I got the biggest bang out of my buck, if you will, was that woman who took me off to the side and invested.
Sweet.
And that's what it takes. It takes people to invest.
And what would you like to say to her today?
Oh, she did well.
Good. Well, mahalo for that. Thank you. That was
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Interesting. I like your choice, Tawila. Jackie Kennedy, she is amazing.
What a lady. What a lady.
Right? Class, 100% classy. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Shiro's fell off.
Tashiro's.
Oh man, I wanted the Tashiro's next. Oh, let's roll the dice. Oh, gosh. All right, Wiedemeyer. I was gonna go Stanley, but we're gonna wait because I know you get plenty for say, and I want to shut you up later.
Oh!
Anyway, Wiedemeyer, talk to us, brother. Give us some of your mana'o. And you know what? Never mind you being a smart ass, okay?
Smart sometimes. But okay, I'm gonna keep it real, you guys. We're gonna make it real. I know you guys talking about people in history, but I was looking at the picture Kamaka showed. Was the bench by the beach, looking over ocean, the park, night bright day, you know. I figure, who would like to sit on a bench with for an hour? First thing that came to my mind, Holly Berry.
All right.
Good choice.
After hour, somebody get chance after 1 hour. Who knows?
No. That was going to be my question. You think she would actually stay there for more than 5 minutes? She'd be like, dude, I'm out. I'm out.
She know my chance because Kamaka said got to be there for 1 hour, so she got to stay 1 hour. But keep her up.
Very good.
I know you guys was thinking, but that's the first thing that popped in my brain. I said, wow.
Okay, what's the second thing that popped in your brain, Wiedemeyer?
Was Alicia Keys.
What? What is that?
Another good choice.
Alicia Keys.
Oh.
Please.
You know what, Wiedemeyer, I'm agree with you because if I had to switch teams, like if I were to be born a Kane, I would agree with you. Both those women are just Vela beyond all Vela gets.
And no, because you got to think of something smart because you stay school. But I know you'd be sitting there with Jason Momoa for an hour. You'd be there the whole time.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Okay, so Jason Momoa, he's hot, right? But he looks like he doesn't. Oh, it's gross to me.
Okay, then the Rock. What you like?
All right, there it went. Thanks, Wiedemeyer.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
You should have started first.
Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Who is right? It doesn't look like he bathes or brushes his hair.
See what I
Yeah. He's supposed to look manly.
Oh.
Rustic.
Dirty hair is not manly.
Wilderness.
I was like, being of my lepo, that is not manly.
That's for the movies. That's for the movies. That's why.
What time is it now? This is when Sandwich Island's social network lost complete control of everything. It went off the track.
No, actually, it's The Rock.
Hey, The Rock.
Oh,
The
come on.
Rock.
And Auntie went from
My
agriculture
boyfriend.
to the Rock.
My boyfriend.
The Rock is solid. Very solid.
Okay, I'm going to segue to the Tashiros then because they separated other parts of the house.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, our iPad died. We had it plugged in, but it just kept saying, okay, low battery, but it was all plugged in. Next thing you know, it was dead.
Well, now you look like you're a DJ on the morning show.
Oh, yeah. These are the work headsets that my company issued us a couple years back. Oh, I love them. They're noise canceling and Bluetooth enabled, and they're wonderful.
Cool.
I hear better. And then this way, if it stands on speaker, and the sound wafts through the door. we won't get any feedback or anything like that.
Very cool.
So,
So who would be your pick, Rosie?
at first I was trying to think, what historical figure or, someone, a politician, a queen or something like that, right? But then I was thinking, when we started out this conversation earlier, before the recording, we started talking about books. And a lot of the books that influenced me were written by C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and then even in a different genre, not, J.K. Rowling and Nora Roberts. I read almost everything she's written. And so I'd want to sit down with one of them or Julie Andrews, because, I wanted to grow up and to be able to sing like Julie Andrews. And the funny thing is, I am no soprano, but I still try. Like when, and I would, back in the day when there were only the 3 networks, there was no cable in everyone's houses was really, really rare. Sound of Music would come, would be scheduled for around the holidays, and I would try to be such a good girl leading up to that, because my parents' favorite punishment for me was no TV. So I would try to be so good so I wouldn't get put on restrictions so I could watch Sound of Music. It was my favorite.
Oh,
and so I always try to, sing along or sing in my heart with her, so it would probably be someone like that.
Did you watch Bridgerton? Did you watch Bridgerton?
Yes, yes, I did.
You did? She narrated that. She was the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've also read all of those books in Julia Quinn's series. I've also read those. So I was quite excited to hear that they were going to be adapted.
Yeah. And
Shonda Rhimes also, she brought to screen another one of my favorite books, A Wrinkle in Time. And so I'm like, oh, that was an interesting take on A Wrinkle in Time. And, but it was, Madame L'Engle. Thank you, Auntie. And then, I love her books too. And so what's sad is the little one hasn't picked up on those. She did not like. I got her started on the Chronicles of Narnia series, and she couldn't get past The Magician's Nephew. She couldn't get past book 1. I should have just had her start with Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. But
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
Mm-hmm.
Chronicles of Narnia. It's a lot.
You want to borrow it?
Mm-hmm.
Get all the books. C.S. Lewis, J.K. Rowling, all of them.
Yeah, I have them.
But
look behind her, Wiedemeyer. What do you see? Books.
Books. Now the funny thing is that is just one IKEA Billy bookcase. Before the little one was born, we had a room dedicated to our things, and we had 3 of those full.
That's right. I got 4 in my living
full
room.
of books, and then I had to tear down the library because the little one needed a room. So,
yeah, but every time you move, you got to pack up all your precious books. It's a lot.
It is a lot, and I've had to cull my collection over the years, and most of it's in the garage, and it makes me sad.
Yeah. But people who love to read, they really covet their books, man. My sister's all about the first editions, so she collects first edition books.
Oh wow! Yeah, I often dreamed of having, the leather bound reproductions in a nice library, but have that Beauty and the Beast Bell library.
Oh, right? Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Seriously, at that point, that point in the movie, like Belle hadn't totally fell in love with the Beast yet, and I'm in the movie theater with my kid and my husband, and he brings her into the library, and I'm screaming.
Oh my God.
That's a great scene in the book, in the movie. Yeah. Well, awesome. I can't. What about you, Stanley? I'm sorry, Stan. I can't. Whoa, my screen is. What about you, Stan?
Well, you know,
Stanford. Stan.
oh, Stanford. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes,
You call
Stanford.
different names. I'm ready to go. Call
I'm
Stanford.
sorry,
Gotta
my
say
screen got cut off
Stanford.
here.
Not the Portuguese, not the other guy. No, Stanford. You gotta say that.
No,
Oh,
Stanford.
one job.
Just call me Stan. That's all.
What about you, Stan? Are you an avid reader also?
Yeah, I like to read, but my genre is more nonfiction. I like to read a lot of historical books or about, like one of my big, well, I'll read like nonfiction, but based on, I'll read fiction, but based on actual things. Like one of my biggest collection that I have is Tom Clancy. You know, I love military stuff.
Yes.
Based on facts, or systems that are based on facts and stuff like that. Or I like to read like a lot of history. So one of the one person that there's so many people that I would love to sit down and chat. It goes through a broad spectrum.
Now, don't pick the same one I did now, Stan. Don't pick the same one I did. I wrote all this down for nothing if you pick the same one I did. Go ahead.
No, I don't think you'll get this guy. Is Wyatt Earp.
Okay.
I've always been a fan of Wyatt Earp. When I was a kid, cowboys and Indians and all that, but I always would hear about Wyatt Earp, and then I would watch, or I could watch that movie. Was that Tombstone?
Yeah, I love that movie with Doc Holliday.
Yeah, not the Kevin Costner one, but the other one. I can't stand the Kevin Costner one. But
the one with Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. Yeah.
I could watch that. Well, it was on this weekend, and I've seen it like how many times, and I'm like glued to it again, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. He was quite the character. He was in some shady business and stuff, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that I would like to hear from him, because there's a lot of secondhand stuff that's been written in books, and I just wanted, if I could, ask for his perspective of things and how things went down, according to him. And I didn't know this, but towards the end of Wyatt Earp's life, he hung out a lot at the movie set in the commissary, and the one person that he really influenced was John Wayne.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, before John Wayne became famous and all that, he was, the bit actor and all that. Yeah. He sat down constantly with Wyatt Earp and heard stories and stuff and about the, the cowboy etiquette and all that. And so John Wayne would, when he would go on set and all that, he would model what Wyatt Earp taught him.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. The Wild Wild West.
That is absolutely remarkable. That's a awesome choice. Yeah,
I didn't see that one coming a mile away.
I am gonna agree with you also. The Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp movie. Man, I fell asleep. It was so boring.
And according to one of the books that I read about Wyatt Earp, the Kurt Russell movie actually is really close to the actual story of Tombstone.
Yeah.
Of course, because of movies, you have to dramatize a few things, but as far as like how historically accurate, the accuracy, the Kurt Russell movie is the closest.
Yeah, that's what I heard. There was only little tiny bits of creative license just to but yeah, I heard the same thing. But Uncle Kamaka,
Yeah.
Man.
I love stories about the Old West as well. And so that would be fascinating. But I'm just curious here. The good Dr. Ing has been very quiet. He's been listening,
Yeah, I
been
know.
responding. And I think the timing is just perfect now for our attention to go to West LA right now. And Mr. Ing.
West LA always. Well, actually, the one person that I would like to spend some time with, I actually met, but didn't spend that much time with because it was just a big weekend along back in 1970. Anyway, I would love to sit with cultural icon, author, and leader of the Merry Pranksters, none other than Ken Kesey. For those of you who don't know him, he was a writing student back in Stanford back in the late 50s, where he and a couple of friends volunteered to be volunteered for a army experiment with LSD. And at the time, he was writing a draft of his very first novel, which I'm sure some of you have read. It's called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes.
Which was made into a movie starring none other than the iconic, Mr. Jack Nicholson. But anyway, I would love to sit with Ken Kesey because he is a touchstone of the late 60s through late 70s absolute Renaissance eruption in American society, of which Kamaka and I were a part. I mean, that is our legacy. We are boomers of that age. And I met Ken Kesey at a Grateful Dead concert in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wow.
It was a further in the bus tour with the Grateful Dead and Wavy Gravy and the Farm. All of you should know who they are. If you don't, please read Tom Wolfe. He writes a great book called The Acid Test. And yes, I partook. But Ken Kesey was this amazing intellect. He was also a farmer. He was a lumberjack. He had a farm in Oregon. He grew up as a farm boy, but he was a wonderful writer. Not only was he a wonderful writer, but he got on the, I don't know quite what you call it, that vibe that was in the air back in the 60s and 70s, and actually was pushing that envelope, that edge of experimentation, not only with drugs, but with communal living, with organic farming, with going back to the earth, so to speak, that whole movement. And I don't know quite how it was happening back in Hawaii, which is where Kamaka was involved back in Kona. But
Macaroni and cheese.
having met him and listening to him give a talk at one of my professors' houses when I was in grad school in Ohio, his main man or one of his partners in the Merry Pranksters had graduated from Miami of Ohio, where I was going to grad school. And his main professor was my major professors, Dr. John, we called him. And he was just out there as far as pushing literary work, I mean, excellent stuff. But anyway, I'd love to talk to him about being not only a part of that movement, but being in front of that movement. And as I mentioned probably one time in another discussion we had, his death was the death that actually stopped me in my tracks as I was walking through the living room into the kitchen, and the TV was on and the announcement came on that Ken Kesey had died. I actually stopped. And I don't know, things just stopped for me for a few seconds. And I turned to the TV because I could not believe it. But there he was. I think it was liver damage. Prior to his, usage of hallucinogens, he was a drinker. The 50s, Jack Kerouac, that whole bit, who he was a friend with, by the way. So it would be Ken Kesey. And I would love to get that perspective on that whole movement at that time where America seemed to be on the verge of actually breaking through and actually cashing in on some of the platitudes, if you will, of what the American good life was or could have been. We were on the verge of women's rights, feminism, the black movement was burgeoning at that time. Kanaka rights was burgeoning at that time. So it was a whole movement of human potential. And there he was, leading it, so to speak, as a merry prankster, as someone who was this clown who really was an intellectual and a great writer. He wrote 2 books, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Sometimes a Great Notion. And that's what I sit with.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, we were definitely children of the 60s, and that whole tilting. There was just this major tilt that was just on that edge.
Oh, I was tilted, all right.
That's why you stand on your head so well.
Watch it.
My uncle, when he's telling the story, is like, LSD, a drunk and LSD, that's who you like to talk to. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Timothy Leary.
Yeah.
Timothy Leary, yes. I met him, by the way. I did meet Timothy Leary.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't happen to pick up a ribbon or flower that fell from your hair and no, okay. I was just.
Did you meet him in Lompoc or out of Lompoc?
Well, you know what, Uncle Kamaka, everybody else is getting asked who they'd sit with, but I don't recall you answering the question.
Oh, thank you. There's 2 that pop in my mind, and I just real quickly, I'll spend time just a little bit with the first and then a little bit more time on the second one. The first one that pops in my mind is Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And Steve Jobs really turned the world on its ear with Wozniak. Both those guys were the godfathers, the fathers of the internet as we know it too. And the personal computer, they started Apple and promised to have a computer in everybody's, just like a chicken in every pot, a computer in every home, that we'd have a World Wide Web. And those guys started that all in the early 60s, and by the 70s, Apple started to rise, and an entire switch in terms of communication and outreach.
And language.
Everything, right? Language, social, economic, political, all of that was made possible by the communications, made possible by the internet, of course, was already been used by the military all along, but as we know, but with the work of Steve Jobs and those that worked along with him, made the internet reachable to John Q. Public, and that's all of us as well. But on a more serious note, really, and I mean this in the most. I've often said, what an amazing. If I could seriously sit down with Jesus Christ, I'd like to sit with him and truly, we have a kabillion Christians around the globe, all different perceptions of what Christianity is. Where the Southern Baptists and Northern Baptists and Eastern Baptists, they all don't get along. You got all different divisive things that have happened in our world, wars, bloodshed, divisions, be it nations and families and countries, all over religion. And we still go under God we trust, and it's all on our that's how our government is supposed to be, one nation under God and all of this. I'd really like to sit with him and say, I read the book, I saw the movie, tell me, really, why did you come? I think I know. I think what I read is, you came to give your life, and because of your shed blood, we have but I want to hear it from you. I want you to tell me, right? Where do we go from here? Where should we go from here? Why is it that we have so many divisions and devices, all in the name of, under your name, Christ? What's up with that? Tell me about that. I'd like to know. We have 50,000 plus different versions of the Bible. Some like the King James Bible because that's the way we're supposed to speak, thee, thou, art, and thou. And if you use any other Bible, that's not the real. Excuse me. How about this translation from the Aramaic to Greek and all? What? We've got all this stuff. By the way, let's even talk about John 1. In the beginning was the Word. Were you the Word? Are you God? Are you the Son of God? Who are you? Tell me. I'll shut up for an hour and I want you to just tell me. That's who I'd like to spend an hour with. Just saying. Just saying.
Wow. Wow, Uncle, wow.
You blew us away.
The entire mood, like right now, just woof.
Right?
Wow.
Right?
Because you know what? I would be interested to find that out too, because you just might get a different answer than you think you're gonna get, right?
Because if I get a Catholic here, I get a Baptist here, I got a Mormon here, one says that I got a new Bible. It's about life in the West with Jesus. It's called the Book of Mormon. And then the Catholics say I have the Douay version over here. And then Mormons say I have the Pearl of Great Price. And off we go. And I'm going, wait. Let's go back to the source here.
Yeah.
Hello. Just saying. Be sure.
I totally agree with you. That's one of the reasons why when people ask what my faith is, and I said it's just that, it's faith. They're like, no, what church do you go to? And my church is a different place than yours. I'm not down with your organized religion. I don't want to hear that.
I got somebody
it's good
really
to have the fellowship, right? It's got to be
Yeah.
that spiritual, your connection to, right? Got to go beyond just the organization. It's
I
gotta
had
go
somebody
beyond.
get really tweaked with me when I said, oh, we're going to the church. Can you? And I just asked the question. I said, if Jesus were here today, what church would he go to?
People need to understand that Jesus wasn't a Christian.
That's right. He was Jewish.
It was
He was
Jewish.
Jewish. Well, not only that, Christianity in and of itself did not actually develop till almost 200 years after he had passed
After he
away.
was gone. After he was gone. And
Well,
by the way,
I
excuse me,
think-
Jesus, excuse me. What day were you born on? Wait, I know it wasn't December 25th because I read the sheep were out. They were out there tending to the flocks. The shepherds were out there out in the fields tending to the flock. They wouldn't do that in the dead of winter. So when were you born, Jesus?
But remember, in Jerusalem, it's all hot and
don't-
dry and desert, so they don't really have
But it's
winter out
not.
there.
We don't know that.
They do have winter there, and
They
it
do
does
have
get cold out on that sand in that
So
desert.
off, you know,
It
so,
agrees.
so off we go. So wouldn't it be amazing if we could just spend that time?
You know, with all the divisions between churches and all that, and you know, you ask the question, what church would Jesus attend to? I doubt he would go to any one of them.
Yeah.
You know, because man has corrupted even Christianity to me, you know, and it's about a lot of times it's about power and politics. And it's like, you know, if I remember having a discussion similar, you know, and it was a Jew, it was a Mormon, a Baptist, a Catholic, and and a Baptist, and we were all just talking, and the one thing that we all agreed on, which was like the simplest thing, was the basics, and everything else is minutia, right? Just go down to the basics. And if everybody was down to the basics, it doesn't matter whether you're whatever denomination you are, right? Because it comes down to what is the foundation. You always got to go back to foundation, right? With anything, any kind of belief, any kind of practice, any kind of life, you go down to the foundation. And what is the foundation, right? And it's really simple. It's just man has to always screw things up and make it more complicated than it is.
I think,
right?
I think the foundation is.
Stan, I think you hit the nail. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Stan, because try to find where God talked about a denomination or Jesus, because he didn't. The church is the people.
Exactly.
Okay, man created the denominations and all this. I mean, if you search the Bible and you're not going to find God or Jesus talking about one particular, God's church is the people. So that's it.
Yep. It is not. It's not the institution.
You know what, Stan? It goes all the way down to aloha equals love. Love comforts all things. Love is all things. Yeah.
And I think that's and you know the thing is, I remember hearing, you know, people. I used to attend a church, and they're like arguing about the minutia, right? And then I just said, you know what? Everything sums up is just love, right? The greatest is love.
Yeah.
Less greed and jealousy.
What was that?
Less greed and jealousy. You know, when you had Cain and Abel, you know, they couldn't get along because one had was the ear of God, and the other one didn't. So, you know, favoritism, the have-nots, the problems between the Irish. You know, you've got the ones that have the jobs, the ones that don't have the jobs. You know, there's division everywhere.
It all started with that stupid snake in that apple. from eating from the tree of wisdom and knowledge.
You know, Uncle Kamaka, you know, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, if everybody practiced love, which is the greatest thing, right? Even in the Bible, it says the greatest is love, you know, faith, hope, but you can have all these things, but the greatest thing is love. And if we all were to share the love and the aloha to everybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. All this other stuff just doesn't matter.
Love it.
There was a piece of wisdom that my cousin, that came to Maui last week shared with, because so most of my family they're all LDS, all Mormon. I'm not a practicing Mormon, obviously, you guys know, because I'm like that organized religion thing just didn't. But that doesn't mean I don't like the Mormon church. It doesn't mean I don't like the Catholic church. It doesn't mean I don't like the Baptist, whatever. I love them all. They're all great. But my cousin, you know, and they don't shame me for not being a Mormon like them anymore. My cousin said, you know what? I wish people would stop pointing out what makes us different, because the more we start ignoring what makes us different, we start to see what makes us alike. And in and of that, I was like, there you go, faith. Boil it down to having faith.
Good discussion, you
Well, even
guys.
Jesus Christ came forward and said, I give you a new commandment, and that is to love thy neighbor as thyself. You know, and along with our aloha. I think I
that's
told
why-
everyone before, I'm gonna love you, and if you're not gonna love me back, that's not my problem.
That's
That's
why
yours.
in the word love, in the Bible,
The agape love.
it's kind of interesting because there are 4 different ways in which love is used. Yeah, one is eros, which is love between the sexes.
Mm.
The other is storge, which is love between family members. The other is philia, is love between friends, and the last one, tuila, is agape, yeah, which is a unselfish, principled love that is a definition, really, of what aloha is all about. Yeah, and so that's why I said earlier,
Amen.
the truth of that, and I think that if we spent more time with that, to pull
And it's an action word.
It's a
Agape
verb.
is actually is a verb.
It's a verb, brother. It's a verb. And that is what draws us all together every Monday, because we love each other.
And
right?
we have to verbalize.
We're all different. We're all different. We all come from different walks of life and all over the place, right? And the beautiful thing is that aloha, that love for one another, that acceptance of one another is what draws us together. And it's such a strong bond. It's so wonderful. So wonderful, you know.
Oh, you guys are getting too serious. I still say Halle Berry.
I love it. Pulalia,
Well,
you know, Rosie, that there's a series that I really enjoyed reading, or in fact, I saw a series on Anne of Green Gables. I mean, it caught me even till today. If it comes on, I will watch the whole thing, and even Anne with an E or whatever, you know. Those were the beautiful type of, I would say, the haole side of being brought up in Hawaii.
That was a good series, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Which one was that, DC? I missed that. Say that one.
Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, okay.
By
Recently,
Ellen Montgomery.
and this was in 2016, and I saw this series. I'm not sure how many of you saw it. It's called Who is God? And it is narrated by Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
If you get a chance to see it, it's so amazing because each episode goes to a different culture, a different way of belief. And then all of it, and of course, Morgan Freeman has such a great narrating voice, and he's such a, and talks about the differences, yet the stuff that does bind us together, the similarities that blend between all of them, whether it be, Islamic, whether it be Buddhist, whether it be, all of this, Christianity and all, amazing. So if you haven't seen it, I'd like to recommend that you take a look at it. The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. Very good. Very, very, very good. So what, Pulalia, Kahiao, I think we pretty much come to the very end here.
You forgot Stanley.
You forgot Brother Stanley.
No, I think that's about it, Pulalia. What you think?
With all this material, Stanley has something to say.
Stanley,
That's right.
Stanley went in.
Cap it off.
He's going to take his pants off if we don't go to him.
The question is, do we want to hear it, Kahio? Do we really?
I am curious. More to pick on him about, Pulalia. More to pick on him for.
Right?
All of
Yeah,
this.
I'll go take my notes too, Mr. Gold.
Yeah. Let me get my pen and pencil and
Get your pen out. Get your pen out. I don't care. Get your crayons out.
Okay.
Buckle your seatbelt. Put your tray in the upright position. Put your feet all the way up. I don't care. I'm going. Yeah, I had about an hour and 30 minutes to think about this, Anna, so I was prepared. I wrote them all down. First of all, I want to say, Kevin and I, we really wanted to be Julie Andrews at one point in time. We just couldn't hit that high note unless somebody hit him, and that was into that. But yeah, I actually had. Oh, I'm going, Auntie. Trust me. I had 12. Then I had to narrow it down. I had some guys that really were essential to my career, so I was going to pick the 3 guys that were, there. They were actually chiefs of LAPD, HPD, so that was one. Then I said no. Chief Parker for LAPD was a big guy. Daryl Gates, nah, that's already been done. Again, I'm like Stan. I do the history part, which I absolutely love to do. I'm not into the other kind of stuff. Being no respect to anybody on this panel, I don't talk about 2 things. One is religion, and one is politics. I do not talk about those 2 at all. I refuse to. I don't, because if I have my opinion, then you get mad about my opinion, and then it goes back and forth. Nope. I spread the aloha. That's what I do.
Solution.
I try to. So I don't talk about any of those 2. Yeah, I had Mr. Truman, JFK, MacArthur. I had Ramo. I thought he was a great statistician. I had Patton because he was one of my favorites. And then it stopped there. And I was going to go to the female part because I wanted to, show my heart to Pua to make sure that everybody understands. And I was going to say Amelia Earhart, but I was like, nah, it's okay. I don't want to do that. Pappy Bowenton came into mind. James McDonald. I don't know if anybody knows James McDonald. James McDonald, I know Uncle does because he's shaking his head yes. James McDonald is the founder of McDonnell Douglas. Well, McDonald before it became Douglas. And then Donald Douglas Senior, yes. I mean, big guy. I mean, he was great. I met this guy through my mom way back in the days when I was probably, that small. Ellison Onizuka. He was very, very instrumental in a lot of things. He was one of them. And I said, well, you know what? Shoot higher because I don't want to talk about that, The 2 astronauts that I adore, Neil Armstrong, Chuck Yeager. What's it like to break the sound barrier? What were you thinking when it went boom and you went right through it? What is that feeling that you're going Mach 6, 7, whatever it was, and you break that point and you're like, man, you're flying in the clouds. I am in awe. And then I broke down. I said, well, you know what? One of my other idols that I really wanted to talk to was Brigadier General Robin Olds. The 3-time ace was in Vietnam, was in World War II, flew a jet, flew a Phantom, which I love. I know I'm trying to break away from that point too, Marty. I didn't want to go the regular, so I went the other regular. But yeah, that was again, Chuck Yeager was the top 2 of my list is Robin Olds and Chuck Yeager. I mean, to sit in that capsule and shoot the moon, I mean, that was like, come on. I read both of their biographies twice because I didn't like it the first time. I went back and did it again. Then I understood what I was reading. I mean, what can I say? That's you're an astronaut already, and you were a test pilot. I mean, you were a regular pilot. You were a military pilot. Man, what is it like to do that? When you're doing that Mach 3 in a jet, what is it like? I want to know. Did you pass out?
Yeah, especially when Yeager almost died, and then how he pulled the impossible and survived, right?
Exactly. That's what I want to hear. Hey, tell me about your stories that you touched the moon, you came back around, and you tried to go even faster. Tell me that. That thrills me to death to see that. Anything that's in the sky, I want to know.
It was incredible that in his 80s, he was still a test pilot.
Still going. Wanted to try whatever was new on the horizon. Wanted to do weapons testing. He said, let me try that. I want to try that. He was doing the new heads-up design. When they first had heads-up design, he wanted to get his hands in that. He wanted to do everything that was new that he could possibly sit in that seat and do. That thrills me to death. I get excited when I hear that stuff. What's it like downing, aircraft? What's it like getting behind there and somebody coming on your tail and you're dodging everybody? What's it like? What do? Do you pull up? Do you pull down? Do you go slide? What do? You go left, shoot the burners, and you're gone? The clouds? I mean, oh my gosh. I could talk forever for him. but I don't want to talk to you guys forever because it'd be too much, and everybody get upset with me. So I didn't want to.
I'll listen to you, Stanley. I'll listen to you.
Thank you, Uncle. But that's
Robert Owens was my company commander. In fact,
wow.
When I was at the U-1 Ratsatani, he was the 8th Tactical Fighter Wing. He was actually my boss.
Wow.
And the last time I met our Hawaiian astronaut, he was I guess you could call him the Grand Marshal of the Ho'olaulea in '86.
That's right.
We were talking the whole time while another group was up entertaining, and there was a group that forgot to bring their bass, and I had my bass fiddle on the stage, and when Kale Pauple, instead of putting the bass back correctly, it was just leaning there. And then if you ask anybody who was there at that Ho'olaulea, everyone's seen the bass start slowly falling down. And from out of nowhere, here came our astronaut flying through the air, and he just missed it.
Yeah.
And my bass hit the ground, shattered in a million pieces.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So good choice.
That was, like I said, I had time to write them down, and I actually wrote them down as fast as I could think of them before anybody else said it, because I was worried about Stan. That's the only one. Kevin, I already know what he was going to say. I already know that, but I knew Stan was going to go history. I'm like, please don't say the ones I picked.
You know what?
Those are good ones, Stanley.
I almost picked Jaeger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to know someone who, went through the sound barrier and what it was like, Ken Ing, he very early on was experimenting with breaking the sound barrier, and
he had a couple too, I'm sure. Yes, I know.
I think it was a Grateful Dead concert he was at. I'm not sure.
A little too close to the speaker. I know. I understand.
Johnny Gomes,
Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
question.
Sure, I'm right here.
So where does Adam West sit in this list of yours?
Like I said, I was gonna go that way, and then I went, no, let's go, true life heroes. That'll always be my hero. Adam West. I met Adam West at a car show of all places. And it was in Brea Baptist Church. That's why I don't say anything. He drove up in the freaking Batmobile, and I ran over and I know I don't run that fast, but I ran over so fast. I was out of breath. I went, Adam, Adam. And he thought it was some psycho calling his name. I'm like, no, I just want an autograph. So he signed my hat. He goes, are you a Batman fan? Like that. Like he does it. Uncle, I'm a Batman fan. I showed him. He's like, wow, do you want me to sign that? No. Nobody signs that. Sorry, I'm not that crazy about you. But I talked to him for like 20 minutes, and that was my other choice. But I didn't write it down because I'm like, no.
Stanley, do you still have that hat, Stan?
I do.
Wow.
That'll never get worn out of the house. So yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
That'll never get. I also got the guy that oh, it's gonna kill me. I can't remember his name now. I just had it. The guy who designed the Batmobile. Come on, help me out. Barris.
Not DeLorean.
Chuck Barris.
Chuck Barris. Yeah.
Chuck Barris he was at a show at another place.
The Gong Show.
No, not that Gong Show.
No, a different guy.
And I went to his show, and it was actually him there. And he actually signed another hat that I have as well. So I do have those two.
Gong Show. It was the one.
No Gong Show. No Gong Show. That's Henry Barris. Come on now.
So Stanley, Lee Merriweather then.
Oh boy. Okay.
My goodness. Hey, what a fun outing, you guys. This was fun. Okay, time for class picture. Stan, you want to go get your Batman hat, Stan?
No, I'm staying right here.
Okay, everybody, here it is right there. Boom. Get them. All right. And by the way, I'm wearing a Lucky Mango. I'm wearing a Lucky Mango design. Hello.
I thought you were going to say you're wearing pants.
Well,
you don't want to talk about that, Anthony. Hey.
So
a lot of leg.
Kahiao, would you tell us about this design? I mean, where did this come from on this design?
That's the Peace Love Shaka shirt.
Peace, love, shaka.
Peace Love Shaka shirt.
Oh, okay.
There's a peace sign inside the honu.
Right.
And then love, and then Shaka.
Peace, love, Shaka.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Hieroglyphics.
This is a Lucky Mango creation. I just love this shirt. It's just gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Yeah, my nieces and nephew helped me make that one.
Very nice. Peace.
Do they come
love,
in just black shirts?
I can get it any color you want, Nancy.
Oh, so it's currently available?
Yep. Whatever color you want.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And Kahiao is very understated in the things that she does produce. Talk about, and she won't say it, but I will. So creative and so great ideas graphically, and she works with some great talented people as well. And so I wanted to share this great new design from Lucky Mango. That's Kahiao right there. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Uncle.
Yeah.
Does Lucky Mango carry the big boy sizes?
Yes. Yes, Marty.
I need big head sunglasses.
Yeah. Yep. I have a big head, as you can see, carry all my friends here. That's why I'm so akamai, And I'm a moa, so I'm fluffy.
So,
fluffy and proud.
So just want to share that reach out to Kahiao if you're interested in any of her designs. I wear them often and very, very proud to wear them. They're just beautiful.
In fact, Uncle Joey, next week I'll have a report on our possible picnic that maybe we can have one down here in Orange County.
Hey.
Hopefully I'll be talking to the senior center tomorrow.
Sweet.
And then if we can have something like that, perhaps Kahiao can bring her wares down with her when we all meet, and maybe
I can do a pop-up shop, Uncle.
Deliver her orders, if you will. So
yeah,
I'll have that report next week.
And it might be a time for you to all put in your orders for baked goods as well. There'll be a menu with a price list and selections offered from the Marty Burns Bakery.
Hey, Marty, I can barter with you. I'll barter with you some cookies for a shirt.
And see, we need some more poi.
You guys better call me up via Zoom so I can be there with you virtually.
I will.
All right, everybody. We're going to say good night right now from the Simon Jana Social Network on the porch. Pualalia Kahiao, thank you so much. All of you, love you so much. Have a great rest of your evening. And we say aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.